Hi, this is Joe Messina from Second String Leather Company. This week from Rinks Around the League, we have Ryan Dittrick in-house. Actually, not even in-house, not even in studio. We're taking this one to the lake in Banff. Unbelievable episode. Stay tuned. Ryan's actually the senior producer with the Calgary Flames. Jeff, Ryan, Edmonton, Calgary, heated battle. Looking forward to this conversation. Let's go.
Awesome, guys. Thanks for that intro. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Rinks Around the League. I'm your host, Jeff Nash. And I thought, All-Star Week, Stadium Series is coming up. I thought, why don't we go on location? And what better way to go on location than here in the Alberta Rocky Mountains? With me today is a very special guest, Ryan Dittrick of the Calgary Flames.
An all-star?
An all-star, yes.
Just so we're on brand here, you got to make sure, right?
Yes, absolutely. Dittrick, for fans who don't know and watching the show, maybe just do a little bio of who are you, other than an all-star?
Yeah, well, I'm an all-star. No, I work for the Calgary Flames. This is my second season with the club. I guess what you would refer to as part of the in-house media group, which you're familiar with. So I'm the team's beat writer, primarily, and also involved heavy into the digital strategy, the social media, and things like that. But prior to me joining the Flames, I actually got my start with the Edmonton Oilers back in 2010. Spent 3 seasons there and did a little bit of work for Sportsnet after that, and then 4 years with the Winnipeg Jets. So I've got the whole Western Canada tour going on here, and now we're here, so this is even better.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for being a good sport and coming out here. For those who don't know, you can follow Dittrick on at Ryan Dittrick.
That's right.
So anyways, a couple weeks ago, he posted these awesome photos of him on this pristine lake out on Lake Minnewanka, and I thought, you know what? I want to go do that. Oh. Unfortunately, every time I want to do that, we come out and it snowed like a foot. So we managed to shovel off a little place for us to play a little shinny after this. But I thought, hey, might as well shoot a show out of here, eh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
A little bit of shoveling, but I think it looks pretty good.
Well, I did all the shoveling. He didn't do anything.
I was practicing my stick handling, yeah. It's still a little rough.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I wanted to have you on is you've worked for a few teams now. And you worked some pretty cool events, and you've experienced all the rinks around the league. Definitely want to talk to you about your experiences with that. And I guess we'll kick it off with your job, and you've been pretty fortunate working with different teams.
Yeah.
And one of the perks of the job is traveling and seeing all the different rinks around the league. What are some of your favorites?
Yeah, it's funny. We were talking about it on the drive out here, actually. I don't think I've ever sat down and compiled a full top 10 or top 20 or top 31, 32, but I definitely do have my favorites, and I'm sort of cliche in a way. Like, I love the big cities, so for me, Madison Square Garden is still, it just feels like every time you're covering a game there, you're doing the most important thing in the world at that point in time. It just feels like, because you're on 8th Ave, 4th Avenue in New York City. It's unbelievable. So kind of along the same lines, I like the Staples Center in Los Angeles, similar vibe. So a big fan of the big cities for the feel that you get when you go there. The rinks are obviously a plus, but it's mostly the emotional attachment I have. In terms of like the physical infrastructure and things I love about some of the rinks around the league, Detroit, Little Caesars Arena, by far my favorite in the league, without a doubt. It's it's kind of a shame they got rid of the red seats in the lower bowl recently, because that was a stunner. But yeah, that one sticks out for sure. It's beautiful. Like I said, when we came out here, as soon as you walk in the gates there, you're at the home of the Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah, and luckily we both got to experience the Joe Louis Arena before they moved to Little Caesars, and you're right. It's a one-of-a-kind building. I mean, it costs a lot of money to do, but just design-wise, top to bottom, it's fantastic. What are some of the standout moments in some of the rinks? Some of the ones on the road that's was a really cool experience, or a moment, or a game, or whatever. You mentioned on the drive up being a part of Crosby's 1,000th point, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's funny actually, because that wouldn't have. I don't think I would have said that if we hadn't sort of stumbled upon the conversation a little bit earlier. It's funny how you dig deep into the memory bank and you find some things that you hadn't thought of, but as the time we're taping this, Patrick Kane got his 1,000th point last night.
Right.
Made me think about of that event. So that was pretty good. In Pittsburgh, obviously Crosby's loved everywhere, but certainly in Pittsburgh he's become kind of a folk hero.
Yeah.
More recently, probably my favorite hockey memory would be the playoff series in the second round with the Winnipeg Jets and the Nashville Predators. To me, that was I mean, Jets came so close to winning it all that year.
Yeah.
Tough third-round series against the Vegas Golden Knights. So for us, and I feel that like the players do, for us, that Game 7 win at Bridgestone Arena felt like the Stanley Cup. And I remember being in the room when the guys came in the room after that win. It was kind of a convincing win, too. It just felt like everybody was watching you and everybody was starting to believe at that point in time.
Yeah.
So more recently, that's probably my favorite. Dipping a little bit further into the past, Rexall Place, Sam Gagner's 8-point night. I think I caught the first 4 of those 8 points from the press box, and the final 4 down in the little bunker we had at Rexall there.
Broom closet, yep.
Yeah, kind of losing our minds. That was pretty incredible. I don't even know how you put that one into words. So those 3 really stick out.
Awesome. Yeah, and one of the things viewers who might be interested in with team coverage is when you're on the road, you're not a player, but obviously you become really attached to what happens, and especially in the playoffs. I remember when we beat San Jose, that was a pretty cool feeling. And like you're on the charter with the players, and you get that vibe of the exhilaration of a win.
Oh yeah.
And obviously the flip side, the agony of defeat and how quiet that plane is after, if you're on a road trip and they're not winning a whole bunch. Yeah. It's pretty quiet on that plane, and winning cures a lot of things.
Definitely.
All right, so on the road, you get to experience amazing rinks, but let's talk about the Saddledome for a little bit. Sure. Because it's the second oldest rink in the league, and it gets a pretty bad rap around the league of being an old rink and stuff like that. But the one thing that I really love about the Saddledome, and it gets overlooked quite often, is the lower bowl seating. Is I counted, I think it's only 11 rows or a dozen rows. If you have a seat in that lower bowl, I don't think there's a better seat in hockey.
No.
It's a great perspective of the game.
Yeah. And that's sort of the when people talked about Rexall Place, that was sort of the highlight too. I mean, everybody said, and actually similar to Winnipeg too. I mean, those smaller rinks where you are able to, whether it's just because of the age of it, or in this case, the Saddledome, it was clearly an architectural design, create that sense of intimacy. Yeah, you're bringing fans closer to the action. So that is cool, and that's actually funny you bring that up, because that's something I've really paid attention to a lot this year when I've been on the road, which is the pitch of the seating bowl. We came to Edmonton actually just after Christmas, and I remember sitting watching the morning skate from the top row of the first bowl, and I was thinking, kind of far away from the ice here. But it's really not that bad when you compare it to a place like the Staples Center, where it's kind of built for basketball. Right. You're sitting way far back. So again, that's kind of the flip side to Detroit, which is very steep, kind of like Montreal as well. So Saddledome, it does get a little bit wider as you get to the top, but you're right. If you're in those lower bowl seats or the first couple of the second bowl, it's hard to beat that. Yeah, it's one of the things. And I noticed it when I went in for morning skate, walking in the pathway out into the top of the lower bowl, and I remember one of the first seasons walking out, I'm like, oh my God, you're really close to the ice, and that's really cool. So, age aside, that's a pretty cool thing, because to be honest, let's face it, the way rinks are being designed nowadays, the lower bowl is the more expensive ticket, so you got to fill more people in that. So I guess one of the drawbacks of the newer age arenas is that lower bowl is pretty massive. There's a lot of people in there. In those smaller barns with MTS or Rexall or the Saddledome, a lot of those old barns, a lot of that intimacy with the game gets lost, and I kind of wonder, as a fan, if fans notice or if fans care that they're losing that intimacy, with the trade-off being they have all the bells and whistles of the in-game entertainment and stuff, right? Well, you know what? We're quite privileged, because we've been around to as many as 35 or more rinks at this point in our careers too. So if you only know Rexall Place or you only know the Saddledome, you're not really sure what maybe it could be, or what what some of the other teams are breaking out with some of these new architectural designs too. But again, we go to the flip side. What's the difficulty in the NHL right now when it comes to ticket sales, right? It's you're of course catering to your those first tier of ticket prices, right? But it's those higher up seats, the ones that are a little bit, maybe the views aren't as good, maybe there's an obstruction. Those are the ones that over time become more difficult to sell, and obviously increase the need for a new facility.
Yeah, and Little Caesars, one of the things you mentioned that they changed the seat colors. A lot of teams and facilities around in the league are changing the black seats because they can't sell those seats. And it's tricky. Like I've mentioned on my top 10 that Little Caesars is the best rink in the NHL, but you tune into a regular Red Wing game and they're not doing so well in ticket sales. You know, team performance kind of helps with that too.
Yeah, it's tough.
They're not doing so well, but it's Detroit. You know they're going to bounce back. Speaking of Calgary, Saddledome, it was announced over the summer and quite recently that a new barn's coming your way.
Yeah.
What's kind of the vibe around the Flames? Like, obviously a new rink, everyone's kind of like, sweet, it's finally happening. Kind of like when you were in Edmonton when they announced Rogers Place was coming.
Yeah, very, very similar. And actually, when I was with the Oilers, I remember working on the steps of City Hall at like 1 o'clock in the morning covering it. I mean, we got into this business to cover hockey, so all of a sudden you're covering city council meetings. A little bit of a change of pace there. But yeah, it's exciting. You know, long time coming, sure, but you know, you're right. Right around the time that I left the Oilers, that was the start of the transition phase from Rexall to Rogers Place, and it was right in the infancy of the design phase too. So everybody's, obviously everybody has an opinion,
right?
Which is good and bad, but it's also a good opportunity to look at what you have available. What can we do right to make this the absolute best, not only for the hockey players, but for your office staff, the ice crew. Like, everybody gets a say, and that's great. Because you're kind of working within your limitations now.
Right.
It's a good chance to expand and see what not only your needs are now, but where you're building towards the future.
Yeah, and the excitement of building a new building is pretty cool. I mean, a lot of us who were there for the construction and the opening of Rogers Place, that was it's a once in a lifetime thing. You never really get to experience that more than once. Saying that, Calgary, if you're looking for a consultant, someone who's been around the league and seen all the barns, you know, Dietz knows a guy, I'm just saying. You know, the new rink is eventually going to come online, and the Saddledome, in my episode of the Scotiabank Saddledome, I talk about the floods in 2013, I believe. So I actually was living in Calgary when those floods happened, and for those who don't know, the runoff from the Rocky Mountains, kind of what we're surrounded by, was so intense that it flooded a big chunk of downtown Calgary. It flooded the Saddledome to, I believe, like the 8th row of the lower bowl or something like that, and it just really wreaked havoc on, you know, the entertainment system, the dressing room, and everything like that. Where were you? Do you remember where you were when you heard the Saddledome was flooded? And because you grew up in Calgary, you're born and raised, kind of what was the news like? What was going through your head when you heard it?
Well, the first thing was I was following it for several days leading into it. I was living in Edmonton at the time, working for Sportsnet, but I think part of it was, obviously fear. I mean, my parents lived in the southeast community of Riverbend. For those who don't know, it's kind of right along the Bow River there, which is at that time spilling its banks. So at one point, and I wasn't in Calgary yet, but I did eventually come down to be with family. I got the phone call that night, and my mom said that they got the fire department knocking on the door, and they said, yeah, you have, I think it was 5 minutes to get out.
Wow.
House ended up being okay. Family was totally all right, but that really puts things into perspective there, and it was a pretty scary time. In terms of the Saddledome, I mean, again, we're probably, that was about halfway into Twitter's, I think, total lifespan.
Yeah.
And it was maybe one of the first events I can recall that played out from the insiders in real time. You know, you heard about it. It sounded kind of like a crazy rumor at that point in time. You're like, oh, there's no way, right?
Yeah.
But it happened so quickly. It was just unbelievable. And all of a sudden, the next day, you've got photos from a pitch black Saddledome that look like a, obviously very dirty swimming pool. So just incredible. And actually, one additional point on that, one thing that you mentioned, the entertainment system. Every rink's different when it comes to where the scoreboard control rooms and where the most expensive AV gear is.
Yep.
In the Saddledome, it's at ice level, and ice level is underground. So that was kind of the first thing to go. It was literally brand new everything. I mean, brand new seats, brand new boards, glass, all the interior work, the electrical work needed to be redone. This was a complete gut and start to finish. And it was actually even more complicated than that, because I believe at the time, whoever their seat manufacturer was, didn't make that seat anymore.
Oh, wow.
So they managed to find somebody to do it. They matched it very closely, but if you actually look at the lower bowl of the Saddledome now, you can still see a line that goes across the middle of the lower bowl where the flood was, kind of the separation between old and new, kind of a little bit of history that lives on there. But yeah, just unbelievable effort. I remember the press conference that they had when they reopened the Saddledome, and it felt like it felt like a new building. You walked in and they still had the whatever the plastic film was on the glass, like it had just been installed. So, I mean, this literally was a 24/7 effort to get it done, and it's cool in a sense now to look back on it because we walk the halls of the Saddledome and even in our office, and there's photos of the devastation that just speaks to the work that everybody did to get it back up and running.
Yeah, I was going to mention that actually. The average fan probably won't see that, but like down in the bowels of the rink are framed photos of what it was during the flood and stuff. And it's a pretty harsh reflection on what it was to where it is now. It's pretty neat. So moving on to something maybe a little more fun and a characteristic of the Saddledome is the walk, the media box walk, and it's almost a rite of passage for any newbie in the media game to take the catwalk walk over top of the scoreboard. Yeah. And originally I actually didn't know they allowed people to do it, but it's kind of caught on to be this rite of passage. And often on Twitter and Instagram, you see kind of new reporters going, "Oh, I'm going to do the walk," and then they'll live tweet it or live stream it or whatever. When was your first time, or have you done that walk yet?
I feel like I almost do it every night I'm up there, but I do it a lot less now. It's. Are
you used to it now? Like,
yeah. You know what's funny? I'm not really scared of heights at all. But
okay.
Yeah, when you get up there, it tests you a little bit. That's for sure. I mean, you're exposed, and there's 20,000 people below you. Yep. So I think the first thing you do is make sure your cell phone is nice and packaged up. But yeah, one side of the press box is for writing press, which is where I'm at. Yep. That's the side where the elevator is, thankfully. And then the other side is where the broadcast media is. So there's constant traffic back and forth. But first time, I've done it every year. Started in 2010, but probably the scariest time would be during the World Juniors in 2012.
Oh, okay.
Because it was a Latvia-Czech Republic game or something like that, and I remember walking across, and a goal was scored. Right above the scoreboard happens to be where the goal horns are.
Oh, right.
And that'll definitely put some impact on your hearing for a few years. So I'm still a little bit skittish.
One of the things in rinks that I like, and another characteristic that I actually do like about the Saddledome is the media. I love catwalks.
Yes.
Rexall had it, the Bell Center, MSG, Detroit, they all have catwalks, media catwalks, and I love the perspective that you get, not only because it does physically separate you from the crowd, which is nice, but I don't know, it's just the sound, everything kind of just goes straight up, and it's a really cool experience. And the Saddledome is definitely not for the faint of heart. For me, I don't have any issues, but like you're right, as a camera guy at Rexall, I wasn't really scared of falling. What I was petrified with is just anything falling down, whether it's your phone, lens cap, anything. Like, you made sure everything was tethered to you, zipped up. Like, you did not want anything. My worst fear would be, and I would sometimes have nightmares about this. I'd be in the press box, and let's say I put a remote camera up, and then all of a sudden something falls onto the ice, and they stop the game, and they look up, and like, oh, that's my worst fear ever. But I love catwalks. They give you a pretty cool perspective of the game.
So I have to ask you then, press box at Rexall, there's another level above that.
Yes.
That goes like into the rafters.
The inner
Did
ring.
you ever go up there?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so many years ago, I shot a feature on the Oilers goal horn and how it worked. And I had an assistant that day. You may have had him on the show before, Tom Gazzola.
Oh, yes, I know that guy.
I'm not throwing him under the bus, but Tom had a few issues up there, but no, through no fault of his own, because when you get up to that upper level of the catwalk, it's literally wooden planks that go across. I don't know about that. And there was also a garden shed for some reason that I think housed some of the electrical work. So
that's right.
That's definitely the vintage vibe you got when you went up there.
And it's not only wood slats, but some of the wood slats would have like an X on them, and you're like, does that mean that needs to be replaced, or is that like a marker or something?
It's good. Yeah.
It means it's good. Then all the rest of them are bad. All right. Well, hey, I want to test your NHL knowledge here, so we'll take it over to the quiz. All right, Ryan. Welcome to the quiz. This is kind of the make or break of my show. Some people have done pretty good. Sean Bell did a pretty good job with the goal horn, but with the quiz, it was a bit of a challenge. But we'll see how you do. I kind of tailored it to some flame stuff, which you said you're a little bit. Hopefully, it doesn't show you up, but I'm pretty sure you'll get.
I was studying my goal horns. I didn't know there would be history related here, but all right, let's give it a shot.
All right, number one, the Saddledome has a pretty distinct shape. And if you watch my episode on the Saddledome,
Yeah.
there's a name of that geometric shape. What is it?
Do you give half points? It's something paraboloid.
Oh, yeah, that's, yeah.
Okay, what's the first one?
Hyperbolic.
Oh,
Hyperbolic
okay.
paraboloid. Yeah, you okay?
That's pretty good.
I'll give you half on that one. You remember the paraboloid part. Yeah.
I know my Pringles can.
Yeah. All right, number 2. This one's a little bit tricky, and people might blast me for this, but what was the last Canadian team to debut in the NHL?
Last Canadian team to debut?
Yep.
Calgary Flames.
Correct. Very good, because
Yeah,
people
that's a
might
tight
say
one.
the Ottawa Senators, but they existed way back.
Yeah.
And
won
they
Stanley
actually
Cups.
and they actually came back. They entered the league the year after the Oilers did. So,
Right.
you know, if you could split hairs and say Atlanta counts, but I don't. I'll say Calgary because it's Canadian.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Sounds good.
very good. All right, good job. You're
Can we
1.5
start?
for 2.
Oh, 1.5. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say 2 for 2.
Yeah, yeah.
not
No,
quite.
it's just, oh, yeah. We'll see. All right, number 3. There are 3 numbers retired in the Saddledome, but only one is a Hall of Famer. Which one?
Oh. Wow. How do I not know this? This is kind of a shot in the dark. Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Mike Vernon?
Nope.
It is
Lanny McDonald. Yep. And I think he's the one that actually calls guys to tell them that they're. I think he's one of the guys that calls them. So
That's true.
don't worry, Lanny.
Jerome McGinley will be. Just
Yes.
give it some time.
Yes, absolutely. All right, number 4. The 1991 playoffs, Theoren Fleury scored in overtime and did his now famous knee belly slide somersault into the corner in Edmonton to force Game 7 back in Calgary. But who won that series?
Edmonton.
And who scored the goal? Overtime goal. They won in Game 7 overtime, but who scored in overtime?
Was it Wayne Gretzky?
Nope. He's a really pesky little guy.
Esa Tikkanen.
Esa Tikkanen. Yep. That's
Another
I always laugh.
half-point effort.
Yeah, that's why I always laugh. With Flames love that Theoren Fleury celebration, and you're like, well, but they didn't even win that series.
Yeah.
Why? You know, but it was a pretty, I guess, iconic goal for
Yeah,
him.
it
So
is. Might have to try that one in beer league sometime. We'll see.
yeah, well, you got to score first.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh. That's a good point.
Yeah. And number 5, Saddledome is the second oldest. What's the oldest rink in the league?
MSG.
That's correct. That's an easy one. I'll let last one.
No,
I'll
but
let
you know
easy.
what? That's a fair question too, because of how much did they spend on renovations there?
It was like the latest one was like $1 billion. Yeah.
So you might, if you visited there anytime recently, you might not know that.
Yeah,
pretty
that's true.
incredible.
Yeah, it is like I actually never saw it before renovations.
Yeah.
So I don't really have anything to compare it to. But when I love it the way it is now.
Yeah.
But like a lot of players and other staff were like, wow, MSG is a dump. But like when I saw it, it was fantastic. So
The thing is that it still has character in a good way, and I mean that by the event level, like where the dressing rooms are, is still kind of a little rough.
Yep.
But the Joe near the end of its lifespan, I think had
Yeah.
quite clearly outlived it. It was getting to the point where you couldn't really give it credit for having the charm anymore. It was just old. So
Yeah.
MSG has done a great job of maintaining that.
that's true. That's true. All right, so let's get at it. We'll get out the goal horn. I'll give you some these headphones.
All right.
And I'll play it for you. So same rules as before. I'll play the goal horn, and if you can get it, it has the goal horn and the I guess last year's goal or the song celebration songs.
Okay.
So if you can get it before the song, I guess I'll give you triple the points. I guess so.
Triple. Make up for those halfers.
Yes, that's all right. So all right. So first up.
I hear a Tesla coil in the background. That's Tampa Bay.
Oh, right away. Not even a hesitation. Wow. Well done. He's done his homework. Boom.
By the way, that Tesla coil is one of the most impressive things you'll see. And that, I forgot to mention it because that is definitely, that's probably number 2 in terms of my favorite rings.
Yeah, it's really cool. And for some reason, I find that the Tesla coil almost is like the same frequency as the goal horn because it kind of sounds the same in some
Yeah, it
reason.
almost gives a little staticky kind of feel to it.
Number 2.
Oh, that is my favorite goal horn in the NHL. Staples Center, Los
Oh,
Angeles.
2 for 2.
I love that thing is so loud. I love it. Love it. I love train horns in general.
Yeah, they are pretty good. Wow, not even blinking an eye here, folks. Man, I should have picked harder ones. All right, let's see here. Let's try this one.
Columbus.
Ah!
I was just-
you almost-
There's a couple similar ones, so I had to wait to see if the AC/DC and the Cannon would come in there.
Yes, the infamous Cannon, which TV does not do that one justice.
no.
It's pretty crazy. All right, number 4.
New York Islanders.
Oh my goodness! I gotta do a stop timer on this. That was like literally a second. Holy man! New York Islanders. Wow.
And that is almost a trick question because it sounds a little bit different in Barclays Center as it does in the Coliseum.
That's true.
But I'm pretty good. So.
Yeah. The overconfident Ryan Dittrick.
I know.
Just
this could
crushing.
be bad. This could be bad going into the last.
Just crushing. Well, I don't know. I wish I would have picked a harder one, but we'll.
San Jose Sharks.
Oh my God. I'm literally gonna have to do a replay and see how long that took because that was ridiculous. Yeah, that's right. Correct. Awesome. Well, I should have done like 10 for you. That's 5 for 5. Thanks for playing.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, man, that was really impressive. Definitely set the bar when it comes to goal horns.
Nice.
So here, I'll grab the headphones from you. Well done. Well done.
Thank you, sir.
And you did pretty well on the quiz, but yeah, the sun's kind of starting to go down. I think we gotta maybe skate off, shoot the puck around, warm up before it gets too dark. But thanks for coming on, Ryan.
Thank you.
And thanks for everyone for watching. Again, you can catch all Ryan's Flames info and articles on nhl.flames.com, I think it is. And you know, being a Calgary guy and I'm an Edmonton guy, the Battle of Alberta is always an interesting one, especially the next one coming up. We'll see what happens.
It's gonna be good.
Awesome. Thanks for coming, man.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, let's get at it. All right.